Hello and welcome to my channel. I am Mama Atheist, but you can call me Amanda. First, I want to apologize for not having had a climate change video come out in a few weeks. We've all been in this isolation state. I have a 16-year-old son that's home from school that I've been taking care of, so we're doing the best that we can. But today we're going to talk about permafrost and how climate change is causing permafrost to thaw at a rate much quicker than we could have ever possibly predicted. I guess the first question we need to tackle is, what exactly is permafrost? The most accurate definition of permafrost is any rock or soil remaining below 0 degrees Celsius for 2 or more consecutive years. It is composed of sediments, rock, and soil, all held together by varying amounts of ice. Permafrost can be anywhere between 3,000 and 5,000 feet deep. Most of the permafrost is contained on land, although some is offshore beneath Arctic continental shelves. A majority of the Earth's permafrost has been frozen for tens of thousands of years, yet with the rising temperatures caused by climate change, layers of permafrost have been thawing at a speed at which we did not expect. Geologically speaking, permafrost is thawing almost overnight. It's important to understand that layers of permafrost thaw, they do not melt. As melting suggests a change in state, whereas thawing does not. The ice in permafrost, it does change state from solid to liquid as it melts. However, the rest of the permafrost, the soils and the sediments, they do not change state. They merely thaw. The water that holds permafrost together makes up for a mere 0.022% of the total water on Earth. However, permafrost covers 24% of the land in the northern hemisphere. That's roughly 22.79 million square kilometers of land. In the northern hemisphere, permafrost can be found as far south as 26 degrees north, located in the Himalayas, and as far north as 84 degrees north, around Greenland. However, the majority of the permafrost layers lay between 60 and 68 degrees north, with another major source around 35 degrees north in the Tibetan Plateau. In terms of area covered by permafrost, there are two separate ways to explain its formation: continuous and discontinuous, as permafrost does not always form in one continuous sheet. As the name suggests, continuous permafrost is an interconnected sheet of frozen material. Continuous permafrost can extend under all surfaces other than large bodies of water. Even in the farthest areas north, the bottoms of rivers and lakes never freeze completely. One subset of permafrost is known as subsea permafrost, which is found under the Atlantic Ocean, on the northern continental shelves of Eurasia in North America. Now, discontinuous permafrost occurs in areas where the average air temperature is only slightly below 0 degrees Celsius. This makes it easier for it to be broken up into separate regions, unlike continuous permafrost. In the discontinuous permafrost zone, there are many areas that are permafrost free. One subset of discontinuous permafrost is known as alpine permafrost, which can be found in the lower latitudes but on higher elevation levels, and is a type of perennially frozen ground. In China, there is a 1.5 million square kilometer area of alpine permafrost, the largest in the world. As permafrost forms, the colder the ambient air, the thicker the layers can form each winter season. However, there is a flow of heat that rises from the core of the planet that contributes to a thermal balance between the expanding sheets of permafrost and the deeper layers of substrate. This all depends on both air temperature and geothermal gradient, which is the increase in temperature as you go deeper into the planet, caused by the heat radiating from its core. Trapped within the permafrost is roughly 1,700 billion tons of organic material. That's 17 gigatons. This is nearly half of the Earth's organic material known to be trapped in soil. There is the issue of this is where the issue of climate change really comes into play. These organic materials are composed of mostly dead flora and fauna that have remained frozen within the permafrost, sometimes for tens of thousands of years. A warming climate can induce environmental changes, mainly uncovering of these frozen corpses that accelerates the microbial breakdown of organic carbon, leading to the release of greenhouse gases like CO2 and methane into the atmosphere. As the permafrost thaws, vestiges of ancient life are being released as masses of carbon, mercury, methane, and more that have been locked in the dirt for sometimes up to a millennia are released into the atmosphere. In fact, the amount of carbon alone trapped within the permafrost is twice as much as that which is already trapped in our atmosphere. So as the permafrost thaws at an accelerated rate due to increased global temperature caused by climate change, the greenhouse gases released into the atmosphere then accelerate the rate of climate change itself. It's a vicious cycle and is why it is such an important matter. If the majority of the permafrost melts, then it will release around 6 years worth of fossil fuel emissions into the atmosphere. At the current rate of thaw, the permafrost will be emitting an equivalent amount of greenhouse gases as China currently does in 1 year. So yeah, this is some serious shit here. As I said earlier, our predictive models did not see this coming, did not see the rate of thaw of permafrost happening as quickly as it is. An example of the effects of climate change actually compounding the overall destruction of climate change itself. As the earth warms and the permafrost thaws, the climate change will accelerate, and this is devastating news to our planet. So it's important that we try to move over and shift from fossil fuels to greener energies to try to slow these things like permafrost thawing and increase fossil fuels in the or increase greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, and so many more issues. But I guess that's it for today. Just another problem that we have to tackle when it comes to climate change. And I am Mama Atheist. Thanks for coming to my channel. See you next time, and think critically. Bye.